Another major blow to the auto sector. Stellantis announces it's shifting Jeep production from Brampton to south of the border. Good afternoon. Thousands of auto workers have been left reeling after learning the production of the Jeep Compass will be leaving Brampton and heading to a plant in Illinois.
It comes after Stellantis had temporarily paused work on the new electric SUV in the midst of Trump's initial tariff threats at the start of the year. CTV's Sean Leathong is live at the assembly plant in Brampton with this latest news. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, the 3,000 auto workers here at the Stellantis plant have been waiting to find out what their future will look like for some 8 months. The news coming out of the United States yesterday means their future looks bleak, but Stellantis says they do have plans for this plant.
Production at the Stellantis Brampton location is on the move south to the United States, a result of U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. Local union representatives saying they only found out yesterday afternoon.
Just before 5 o'clock, just before when they sent to the news media this announcement, and they robocalled our members about this $13 billion investment to the States, which has our Jeep Compass heading over to Illinois. It was definitely shocking news, concerning, and disrespectful and disgusting behavior by the company.
In a statement, Stellantis Canada says, as part of this announcement, we will move one model from Canada to the U.S. We have been in Canada for over 100 years and are investing. We're adding a third shift to the Windsor assembly plant to support increased demand of all versions of the Chrysler Pacifica and the new 6-pack power Dodge Charger Scat Pack RT models. Canada is very important to us. We have plans for Brampton and will share them upon further discussion with the Canadian government. Production at the Brampton plant has been on hold since February 20th, around the time the U.S. president began this trade war. Before that time, the plant had been retooling in order to produce an electric Jeep SUV. Now that future is uncertain for their 3,000 workers.
Donald Trump has been very clear from the beginning that he was coming for our auto jobs, and companies now are making decisions to appease Trump in this trade war.
In a statement, Prime Minister Mark Carney agreed, saying the decision is a direct consequence of current U.S. tariffs and potential future U.S. trade actions. Until a more certain trade environment for the North American auto sector is established through the upcoming review of the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement, decisions on new investments in the auto sector will continue to be affected. Unifor's national president saying there needs to be consequences for actions like this.
These are thousands and thousands of workers who are impacted by this decision to shift production south of the border. And as a country, we have to stand up to this.
And Premier Doug Ford sharing a statement saying Stellantis has a duty to live up to their promise to Brampton auto workers and continue with their allocation in Brampton. No provincial funding will be given until we receive clear assurances on when the plant will restart operations and meet that commitment.
And Brampton Mayor Patrick Brown today saying that this will definitely hurt the local economy, but he says he thinks this will be much larger. He says he thinks if it's allowed to start here in Brampton, it could go nationwide throughout the auto industry. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. A major development now on the labor dispute impacting colleges across Ontario. After over a month on the picket line, the union representing striking full-time support staff reached a tentative deal with the College Employer Council. 10,000 workers at Ontario's 24 public colleges had been on strike since September 11th. The union says picket lines will come down today, and the details of the tentative agreement will be shared with members this afternoon. The union also says support staff will return to work tomorrow. The union adding the strike helped the public understand the college system is being deliberately defunded. That's according to the union, and says plans include further cutbacks and outsourcing.
A suspect in hospital after an early morning home invasion in York region. The suspect caught after crashing a vehicle while trying to flee the scene. CTV's Allison Hurst will have the latest in moments. Turning to the Blue Jays, a team looking to battle back against the Mariners tonight.
Game 3 of the ALCS goes tonight in Seattle after the Jays lost the first 2 of the series at home. Our Raheem Ladani is live in Seattle at T-Mobile Park with a look ahead. Raheem, fans, and I'm sure the team, they definitely want to win tonight.
Hey, Michelle and Nathan, good afternoon. Well, good morning in Seattle where we are right now. Yes, fans certainly still want a big win, and this is the first little bit of adversity the Jays have had to face all postseason. This is gut check time for them, down 2-0 in the series. It is not an elimination game, although it certainly does feel like it. Around Seattle, around the ballpark right now, just about everyone is in Mariners gear. They're all feeling good about themselves, as they should. They're up 2-0. They came to Toronto and did what a lot of people did not expect them to do, which is dominate the Blue Jays. We've been talking with a lot of the fans, and they don't mind the fact that there are Blue Jays fans going to be here. It's a bit of a friendly rivalry. But they admit that there is a bit of an annoyance when it comes to seeing the blue and white in the stands. They wish it was Seattleites owning T-Mobile Park. Now, for the Blue Jays, they need to play better. This is no secret, of course. If you are a Jays fan, you certainly want some good news, and here it is. The Jays have dominated here at T-Mobile Park throughout the regular season. They swept the Mariners all 3 games. Secondly, this is not going to be your typical road game for the Blue Jays because, as we mentioned, there are going to be so many fans wearing blue and white for the Jays today. I spoke to a woman who, when we were on our flight, while we were on our flight to Vancouver, I spoke with a woman beside me. She was flying down to Vancouver to hang out with her mother, who's a diehard Jays fan, and they're now making their trip down. So there will be a lot of people. That also means ticket prices are going up. Cheapest tickets around $200 US. Most expensive tickets behind home plate around $4,900 USD. We have been speaking with some fans about how they feel about the Mariners and how they feel about the Jays being here. Take a listen.
You guys sing the national Canada anthem to us, and then we just say USA. It's just fun. We always had a rivalry. I assume we don't sell tickets to you guys. We don't need no Blue Jay fans.
Well, for me, they're respectful and they're courteous and they give tips, man. I played baseball my whole life, and it ain't over till you get that last out. You know what I mean? And so it's still a long way to go because Toronto's a team that can come back. So. We'll see, but I'm just hoping that the baseball gods are shining on us because we haven't been there, man.
That's right. It's been 24 years since the Mariners have made it here to this spot. Now, obviously, the stats are not in the Jays' favor. Teams that have gone down 0-2 have only come back to win this series 16% of the time, but it has been done in recent history. The 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks did it. The 2004 Boston Red Sox did it, and the Jays did it in the ALDS in 2015, although that was a best-of-5 series and not a best-of-7. In order for the Jays to be successful, they need the offense to get going. A lot of fans watching are saying, hey, this isn't the same team that was playing against the New York Yankees. The offense has dried up. Vladdy is 0-7 at the plate. He needs to be better. Shane Bieber is on the mound as the starting pitcher for the Jays. He needs to go deeper than 2 2/3 of an inning. And so if the Jays get off to a good and early start, I do think that they can have success. There's a retractable roof here at T-Mobile Park. It's a little different than Rogers Center because while there is a retractable roof, the sides are still open. So the elements are still a factor in terms of the wind. It's going to be a cool and crisp, mild mild game today. So it should be interesting, and the game is, I think we're about 8 hours until the first pitch, so we've still got a ways to go.
Thank you, Raheem. I love the case you've made as to why this team can win. All right, have fun in Seattle. Well, starting today, the ramp from the Don Valley Parkway to Richmond Street is closed for several months. The ramp is being shut down for rehabilitation work. As a result, Richmond will be reduced to 1 westbound lane at Eastern Avenue. There will also be 1 eastbound lane closed at Eastern, as well as intermittent overnight lane closures on the DVP. The city says the rehabilitation work is expected to be completed in the spring.
That won't be fun. Let's talk about something a little more positive. The weather forecast, losing a bit of the sunshine this hour, but Raheem was talking about Seattle weather. Here in Toronto, we have nice conditions for this time of year. No rain on tap, and temperatures where they should be for this point in October. Let's get to Lindsay Morrison with a look at the current conditions. Lindsay.
Michelle, temperatures are exactly where they should be at this time of year in October, but considering the October we've had so far, feels a little cool out there, doesn't it? It's all relative, of course. We're at 12 degrees right now here in the city, but you'll notice that we're barely in double-digit territory for places like Owen Sound, Parry Sound, and Bancroft. A little milder in cities like London, Hamilton, and Niagara Falls. Winds are coming directly from the north today, so we're feeling that. And yes, it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud kind of day. Hopefully more clearing as we make our way through this afternoon and loads of sunshine. Our forecast daytime high is 14 degrees. Overnight tonight, though, it's going to get quite cool. In fact, so much so that Environment Canada has now issued a frost advisory, mainly for the west end of the GTA and around the Golden Horseshoe into Niagara region. Coming up, we'll show you just how cool those temperatures could get. And we're going to talk about some significant rain in the long range, which could impact your weekend. All of those details are ahead. For now, Michelle, back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. York Regional Police are investigating after a home invasion in Vaughan ended in a serious crash.
Police say at least 3 suspects broke into a home and stole the homeowner's vehicle before crashing during the getaway. CTV's Allison Hurst is live at the scene with more. Allison.
Nathan, yes, we are at the scene of where that crash happened. This is where the suspect's vehicle crashed. I'll just step out of the way so you can get a better look at the damage you can see along the grass where those tire tracks are and then where it slammed into that concrete fence. This is as it was fleeing that home invasion, and that neighborhood now left shaken. A home behind police tape, where early in the morning police say 3 suspects broke in while the family was asleep inside.
Very scary.
It happened around 4:30 this morning. Fortunately, no one was injured, but there were young children in the home at the time.
It happened to the neighbors, and now, you feel like it can be you next, and there's no real way we can protect ourselves and our families because it's happening so frequently, and we feel like there's nothing we can do in defense.
I spoke to them very briefly. They're okay. I'm sure they're a little shaken up because, they have 2 small kids. So, again, it's just hoping that these things that we can stop this, because it's getting even the kids that were involved, like their youth, I heard, and that's a little disturbing that they're getting younger and younger and causing all these crimes too.
This is in the area of Teston Road and Cityview Boulevard, and Christina Chiafalo says the neighborhood is starting to talk about hiring private security to patrol their streets.
We're trying to take precautions and doing what was reported and what people have been saying, but it seems like it doesn't matter. They still have their way around everything.
At least one of the suspects fled in their homeowner's vehicle. They had their own vehicle too, a Hyundai pickup truck, which crashed as they were trying to flee at the intersection of Cityview and Teston.
I can confirm at this time that the Hyundai pickup truck that crashed at Cityview and Teston Road is believed to be the vehicle that the suspects arrived in at this home invasion.
The driver, a youth, suffered serious leg injuries. He was taken to hospital in Toronto and has been arrested.
Despite an extensive search of the area by multiple police units, multiple police officers both in uniform and plainclothes, and our canine unit, we were unable to locate the remaining 2 suspects.
York Regional Police say those 2 suspects fled the scene and remain at large. Police have not provided a description for the 2 suspects they are still looking for, but they are asking anyone who may have any information to contact them. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Allison. A woman in her 20s has been taken to hospital following a hit and run in Etobicoke last night. Police say the victim was struck by a vehicle near Dixon Road and Kipling just before 6:15. The vehicle did not remain on the scene. The woman was taken to hospital by trauma run. Police say her injuries are non-life-threatening. Investigators have not provided a description of that suspect vehicle.
Community advocates are calling on the city to do more to address speeding on Parkside Drive. New data obtained through a Freedom of Information Act reveals the top 46 highest speeds the camera has clocked are all over 100 kilometers per hour, with the highest recorded speed coming in at 154. That's nearly 4 times the posted limit. The community organization Safe Parkside says today the camera remains missing after being cut down for a 7th time back in September. They're also calling on the city for updates on the delayed Parkside Drive study, which was approved by council back in 2021.
The city held the first of 6 budget consultation meetings last night. Residents were given the chance to ask questions, learn about the budget process, and offer input at the meeting at the St. Lawrence Market North building. Another meeting is set to be held Saturday at the Etobicoke Olympium, and there will be meetings in North York and Scarborough next week.
Not only are developers not building the housing, people are not spending because they're a bit worried. So yes, it's going to be cleaner because we need to sort of not hunker down, but we need to hang tight and make sure that the city works for people, but also make sure that we can make life more affordable.
The city will also hold 2 virtual meetings at the end of the month. People who want to participate can register through the City of Toronto's website. According to a new Royal LePage house price survey, Canada's housing market is shifting towards balance as easing prices, rising listings, and renewed rate cuts improve affordability across most regions. Home prices are due to drop 3% in Toronto and 2% in Vancouver this fall. However, in Montreal, home prices are forecasted to jump 6.5%. Across Canada, the aggregate home price is due to jump 1%, so just about $828,000. Compared to the peak of pandemic pricing in the spring of 2022, national home prices have come down by approximately 5%, driven by a decline in the urban centers of Toronto and Vancouver.
In the Middle East, Israel says 1 of 4 bodies handed over by Hamas yesterday is not one of the hostages who were held in Gaza. The development adds strain to the already fragile truce to end the war between Israel and Hamas. The 4 bodies released overnight followed the handover of 4 others on Monday. Gaza's health ministry says it has received 45 additional bodies from Israel. The bodies of 90 Palestinians have now been transferred. The returns are part of the ceasefire brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Egyptian Red Crescent says at least 400 trucks carrying food, fuel, and medical supplies were bound for the Gaza Strip today. But the UN is warning hopes pinned on the ceasefire deal are slipping. It says aid groups are again struggling to deliver supplies. Israel notified humanitarian organizations yesterday that it would allow only half the 600 daily aid trucks called for under the ceasefire deal because of the slow return of hostages. It was not immediately clear whether it was following through on that threat.
Defense Minister David McGuinty attended a NATO meeting in Brussels today as the allies seek to bolster support for Ukraine. McGuinty spoke beforehand, outlining what Canada is doing as a member of the alliance.
To indicate Canada's commitment to the 2% target, a target we will meet 5 full years ahead of schedule as we rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in Canada's Canadian Armed Forces. We're investing in our people. We're investing in our bases. We're investing in our equipment. But I want to also make it very clear, Canada is fully committed to the alliance. Canada is fully committed to Ukraine. And I'm looking forward to today's discussions. I think they will be productive at an important moment.
There has been a sharp drop in deliveries of weapons and ammunition in recent months to Ukraine. Kyiv says it will need between $12 billion and $20 billion worth of military aid next year as part of a new NATO initiative to purchase U.S. weapons.
A new report is shedding light on the financial strain many Canadians are facing and the impact that stress is having. CTV's Scott Hurst joins us now with more. So, Scott, what do the numbers tell us about the level of financial strain Canadians are feeling right now?
Nathan, having concerns and worrying about money is something pretty much all of us can relate to, but financial stress is proving to have a real-life impact far beyond our wallet, a growing impact, in fact, on our overall well-being, not just our mental health, but our physical health as well. And the United Way is seeing the affordability challenges for so many Canadians becoming much more severe. And we have the results of a new survey for the United Way through Leger. It shows that more than half of the Canadian residents that were part of this survey, 55% in fact, are at the very least anxious about their personal finances. Things like paying rent, paying the mortgage, supporting your family, even affording groceries amid inflation challenges over the past several years. It's all adding up to more stress. About 4 in 10, just under half of those surveyed, about 41%, reported actual physical stress symptoms when talking about or thinking about their current financial situation. And that leads to the most severe question: what happens if you couldn't make ends meet all of a sudden? And according to the survey, 42% said they'd only be able to cover their basic expenses for less than 1 month if they lost their job, meaning so many of us, Nathan, are so dependent on each and every paycheck that there's really no personal safety net.
And it does sound stressful. What are the impacts that are being seen and felt because of this?
Yeah, ultimately the impact is a rapidly growing demand for services, whether it is specifically for the United Way or other services. It's been widely reported for many years now. Services like food banks have seen demand skyrocket as well. Ultimately, so many more young people particularly are not getting the food and nutrition that they need. Now, according to the United Way, financial stress does cut across all income levels. But as you might expect, the overall physical and mental impacts, the toll is so much more acute and severe for people making less money. Now, one more point I'd like to make from the survey through United Way is that data from 211, United Way's national helpline, shows the need for financial assistance this year has grown by more than 50% from just last year and more than 60%, Nathan, from just 2 years ago.
CTV's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, we, of course, are keeping an eye on the weather here at home. All eyes are also on Seattle and that big Game 3 happening tonight, the Blue Jays versus the Mariners. It looks like the weather's going to cooperate. There's been some active weather in different parts of North America, but Seattle looks dry for tonight. Local time, 5:08 p.m. Mainly sunny skies and a temperature around 15 degrees. Not bad. Bringing it closer to home, overnight tonight we could get quite chilly in parts of southern Ontario, and that's why a frost advisory has been issued. Believe it or not, tomorrow night could be even cooler. We'll take you through the forecast. And heading into the weekend, yeah, we can't rule out the possibility of another 20-degree day. We'll show you when after this.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, not the sunshine like yesterday, but still a seasonal day. I'll take it. Not too bad.
I kind of see, it looks like you're seeing a little more blue sky this hour. So, yeah, hopefully some of that cloud dissipates. And these are really nice October days.
Oh, we have to take it, right?
Yeah.
We've been so lucky so far. And, yeah, this cloud cover is expected to continue to clear as we progress through the afternoon. It's not going to get a whole lot warmer, though, than it is right now. It's quite a difference from yesterday. We made it to almost 22 degrees. Today we'll be closer to about 14. But a reminder that that is, in fact, our seasonal norm. It's where we expect to be this time of year. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. It was a mostly cloudy start in parts of the GTA, but that cloud cover has been breaking up here and there. This is a nice shot of our city from the CTV News chopper early on. Now, depending on which corner of the GTA you're joining us from, you may already be enjoying a little more sun than cloud. In other areas, there may be more cloud than sun. Expect conditions to continue to change through the afternoon, but we do expect it to be a dry day today. Things will change as the week goes on, and we will get to that. But first, let's talk temperatures. It's a little bit cool today at this hour in parts of northern Ontario. Check out Timmins and Sudbury, only 7 degrees right now. And as we take a look a little bit further south, you'll see temperatures in the double digits across southern Ontario. Let's see if we can bring it to the weather board and show you those temperatures. 14 degrees right now in the Windsor area and 11 in Ottawa. All right, moving on. Today's high, 14 degrees here in Toronto. In fact, the norm now is about 13, so technically we'll be on the warm side of seasonal if we can make it there. But right across the board, it is expected to be a pretty average October day. It's been warm throughout much of the fall season so far, so this does feel like a change. The record to beat today is 25.6 degrees. We're unlikely to do that. Yesterday we came close, as mentioned, and then overnight tonight, single-digit lows in most parts of southern Ontario, including 4 degrees for the low here in Toronto. Clear skies, a northwest wind, and the fact that it's going to become light increases our odds of maybe seeing some patchy frost. So if you're joining us from Oakville, Burlington, in and around the Milton area, you are under a frost advisory. Mississauga and Brampton too, and then pockets of Niagara region included in this advisory, along with southwest Ontario, Chatham, Kent to be more specific, and then east toward Cornwall. There's an advisory in place there too. Let's talk about tomorrow. Similar to today in most areas, daytime highs in the low to mid-teens. Again, pretty typical for this time of year, but if you want to get out and maybe play a round of golf tomorrow, it's going to be a great day to do that. Wall-to-wall sunshine is what we are expecting, and then the chance of showers returns as early as Friday night. But that's not our big round of active weather that we're expecting. Again, we stay pretty dry through tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. It's into the weekend that we see the possibility of more substantial wet weather. First, though, let me take you through Thursday. Friday, we start off with a little bit of cloud, and then around 10 a.m., some spotty showers. This is not going to be a washout of a day, but you might need the umbrella on Friday morning, and then again on Saturday night, and certainly into the day on Sunday. So our weekend starts out warm with some sun, 19 degrees, maybe 20 on Saturday, but significant rainfall, maybe 15 to 20 millimeters Sunday and into Monday. That's the weather for now. Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. A little attraction that makes a big impression is set to open a new exhibit. Little Canada is preparing to unveil Little North. CTV Jessica Smith is live with a preview. Jess.
Nathan, every time I come here, it is just so exciting to see our country quite literally in miniature, and this newest edition is really, really unique because it's going to have a bit of a chill to the air on purpose. We are in Little North. We're including the northern portion of our country. I'm going to bring in Mark to tell me a little bit more about it. You're with the Little Canada team. It opens officially to the public on Friday, so we're getting a sneak peek. But what went into this edition? Because I know it's a really important part of our country and our country's story, but we're standing inside of what is going to be Little North.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're just excited to have kind of Canada represented from coast to coast to coast, you know, capturing that northern side of the country. It's a third of Canada's landmass, so we wanted to make sure that, you know, we were able to represent it, and we have, you know, all three territories represented between Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and Yukon. So we're super excited to have this as an addition to our Little Canada.
There's some really iconic scenes in here, but I want to touch on the kind of cultural connection because we do have some really great representation in this display that people are going to get to come and enjoy. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, you know, there's a lot of Indigenous people that are living up in, you know, the Northern Territory. So a big part of this display is, you know, having that representation in. So, you know, an example of that is in Tuktoyaktuk, we have the Northern Games shown, you know, showing kind of some of the more traditional Indigenous games and things like that. So it's just been a great, you know, way to be able to tell some of those stories.
And it is so cool to see it being made. There's still parts of it going in as we speak. How much time and effort and planning went into Also, there's a little bit of a fun twist with the North Pole.
Yeah, it takes about a year stages all the way to completion. So it's a lot of work, you know, from a lot of different people, tens of thousands of hours that we put into this, and research and building and all that. And, you know, we want to, like you said, you know, we have parts of real the North represented, but we have our Little North Pole display as well. You know, we're claiming Santa as our own. Santa's a Canadian, if you didn't know.
Exactly. And another really fun fact is this room is going to be cold, but for a reason. Can you explain that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. We just wanted you to come into the room, you know, feel that chill of being in the North. So we're actually temperature controlling the room to about 17 degrees or so, just to give you a little chill when you walk in. And our day-night cycle, you know, we usually have a bit more day than night in our displays, but here we've actually flipped that to show, you know, the northern lights that you're seeing here as well. So, you know, kind of captures that kind of polar winter that they have there and the long nights. So we wanted to make sure we represented that.
Well, a trip to the North is obviously on a lot of people's list, but if you can't make it there right away, you can come to Little Canada. It officially opens on Friday. Mark, thank you so much. I'm going to keep touring around because it only gets cooler the more details that I look at. I'm going to send things back inside to the studio.
All right. Oh, how cool. See ya. Thanks. And still ahead on CTV News at noon, a W5 investigation into the shocking link between Canada and the tragic death of a young New Zealand man. We'll have those details after the break.
Turning now to a new W5 investigation that begins with a shocking revelation. Canada is the biggest drug exporter of meth to New Zealand.
In part one, Avery Haynes investigates how the death of an innocent young man in Auckland exposed the Canadian cartel pipeline.
At a storage unit in Auckland, New Zealand, a man carries out cases of beer from Canada. Just days later, an innocent victim would die from that beer.
My brother was charismatic, the life of the house.
21-year-old Aidan Segala lived with his sister Angela and brother-in-law Billy in Auckland. One day, Aidan came home with free beer that his boss had given him. He took one gulp.
He was screaming out, I want my mom, I want my mom. I'm dying, I want mom.
I say, Mom! And I say, yeah, I'm here. I'm here, son. I'm here.
Rushed to hospital, Aiden spent 6 days in a coma. He died of multiple organ failure from a lethal dose of methamphetamine, an illegal and highly addictive synthetic stimulant. Aiden's brother-in-law started dumping out the cans. Some were filled with beer, but not all.
And I was like, hey, wait, this looks like liquid glue that's coming out of this can.
Police raided the rented storage unit where Aiden's manager had been captured on camera removing cases of beer. An officer videotapes and describes the staggering scene they found inside.
It was very confined. I could barely walk around.
Towering pallets of beer made in Canada, complete with the maple leaf logo, and white crystals blanketing almost every surface. Buckets of it. 700 kilos of liquid meth being crystallized.
You have the right to remain silent.
Aiden Segala's manager, later convicted of manslaughter, was getting rid of the excess beer, not knowing some cans still contained meth. New Zealand is in the midst of a meth crisis, and shockingly, Canada is fueling that addiction. The two largest busts in New Zealand history both originated in Canada, hidden in beer and this.
These 713 kilos of meth came from Canada, hidden in maple syrup.
It's kind of sad in some ways that we keep coming and saying we're getting bigger and bigger seizures.
In 2023, New Zealand seized more meth from Canada than anywhere else in the world. In 2024, the most intercepts involved meth from Canada, 171, about 3 meth seizures from Canada every single week.
Just this tonnage coming our way out of Canada.
Detective Superintendent Greg Williams is the director of New Zealand's National Organised Crime Group.
You have a reasonably dynamic organised crime environment in Canada. From what we're seeing, the scale of it, you've got some really significant sophistication up there.
And tonight, Avery Haynes follows the meth pipeline from Canada to New Zealand, chasing leads that police here didn't follow. That's tonight on CTV National News. In other news, today marks Breast Reconstruction Awareness Day, or BRA Day, in Canada.
And while the procedure is an important part of breast cancer recovery, a significant number of women are never told about their options. We get more from our health reporter, Pauline Chan.
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Tracy Barkey had her second of 2 breast reconstruction surgeries just a couple of weeks ago. Her cancer journey began in 2018.
I turned 50, and I thought, okay, I'll go for my mammogram. And my whole world blew up after that.
But reconstruction had to wait.
My reconstruction didn't start for a couple of years because I had to do all the treatment first.
There's options for patients that have mastectomies, which is complete removal of the breast. There are options for patients that have lumpectomies, which are just part of the breast is removed but needs to be reconstructed. And then there's procedures for reconstruction that happens right at the same time as the cancer treatment, and then treatment that can happen years later.
Barkey, who works in healthcare, knew reconstruction was an option, but Tanya Prasad says it was never discussed with her.
I was diagnosed 5 days after my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer as well.
It was only through her mom and support groups that she learned about breast reconstruction. Dr. Ron Samoji says part of the reason it's not discussed is patients already have a heavy emotional burden dealing with their cancer battle.
Is still taboo. People don't talk about it as much.
But also, many smaller centers just don't have the specialists required to do the reconstructions. Prasad chose implants.
I respect everybody's journey and what they choose, but ultimately I live with the outcome. And that was something that was really important to me. I did not want implants.
Barkey, however, chose a more complex procedure called deep flap surgery, where abdominal fat is removed and used to reconstruct the breast.
The wait times are very long for this type of surgery. Not many surgeons can do it.
Both women are happy with their choices.
We try to let them know what the risks and benefits and complications are to the procedure, but really medical education is so important for the patient before meeting us for consultation.
Dr. Waqas Jalil says we need to spread awareness, not only that the procedure is available and covered by OHIP, but that information about your options is important to make the right personal decision.
I have 4 daughters, so my biggest, I guess, for BRA Day Advocate for yourself. Find your voice, because at the end of the day, you live with your own choices.
While Varkey's message for Bra Day is more succinct.
Get your mammograms.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The province says it has hit the halfway mark in clearing the Healthcare Connect wait list for primary care. The province's health ministry says it has connected 118,000 people with a family doctor as of this week. That's half of those who were waiting as of January 1st. The government is hoping to clear the wait list entirely by the spring and set all Ontarians up with a doctor, nurse practitioner, or primary care team by 2029. The government has committed $2.1 billion to that effort.
We've also been very proactive, reaching out to people who are currently on the Healthcare Connect waitlist, asking if they're still looking for a family doctor, a primary care clinician, and ensuring that their information is up to date so that they haven't moved. And once we've done that, then we can match those individuals in communities that are taking on new patients.
Keep in mind, the HCC waitlist does not reflect every Ontarian without a family doctor. In 2024, the College of Family Physicians estimated 2.5 million people didn't have one and warned that number could jump to 4.4 million by next year.
Complex safety features are making cars safer, but also more costly to repair. Coming up, why more insurers are writing off vehicles instead of fixing them. That's after the break.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Vehicles today are safer than ever, with systems designed to keep you in your lane, control your speed, and prevent crashes.
All these added safety measures are making cars more expensive to repair and increasing the chance your vehicle could be written off after a crash. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
Somebody behind me jumped the gun and he hit the tail end of my car.
Carolyn Riley Joseph of North York says it was in August when another driver ran into the back of her 2020 Jaguar E-Pace. The rear bumper was damaged, but the car did not appear to have major issues. She went to a body shop to get a quote for repairs.
The first quote that I saw was about $4,000 and change. He did tell me that, once I bring in the car to be fixed and they actually hoist it up, they might find further damage underneath. I totally get that.
She was then quoted $8,000, and after an insurance adjuster checked the car, she was told it could be as much as $15,000. Even though the Jaguar is only 5 years old with 75,000 kilometers, she was told it would be written off and she would get a check for $26,000.
I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, the airbags didn't go off. It's not extensive damage. There's no damage to the frame.
Her insurance is with Echelon. When we contacted the company, a spokesperson said, Echelon carefully reviews and evaluates every claim. Typically, the vehicle would be a total loss when the cost to repair it is higher than its actual cash value. However, it's not always practical to repair a vehicle, even if the cost of repair is less than its actual cash value.
A total loss is typically just the most economical way to settle the claim. It's just a mathematical decision.
The Automotive Industries Association of Canada says cars are being deemed a total loss more often as parts cost more and there are delays to get them. Repairs have also increased in price, and so have rental car costs. But the main reason is the complex safety systems, which use cameras, radar, and sensors.
We have to replace many, many, many more parts than we ever did in the past.
Riley Joseph is frustrated as she still owes more for the car than what she's being offered. The insurance company is moving ahead with plans to write off the SUV, even though she feels it should be repaired.
Honestly, I don't think there's any need for my car to be written off. So I'd like my car to be fixed.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
As holiday shopping season approaches, more Canadians are turning to AI to help them get it done.
A new report from Deloitte shows half of shoppers have used AI in the past 3 months. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has the details.
Amanda Kiley isn't shopping for the holidays just yet, but she's already getting a little help from ChatGPT.
I get it to help me because I have 4 kids, so it makes it easier to get ChatGPT to help me organize it. I do ask where to go.
Deloitte's new holiday retail outlook found half of those surveyed have used artificial intelligence in the past 3 months, up from 33% last year. And about 1 in 4 say they plan to use AI tools this holiday season. But whether it's online or in person, one thing hasn't changed. Most consumers are still chasing discounts.
AI is being leveraged to ensure that you get the most personalized experience from the brand and that they're resonating with you across all channels.
And while some are using AI to do custom searches, compare products, and get inspiration, the survey found only 17% of consumers fully trust AI and 70% worry about how much personal information it collects.
We'll be at the kitchen table, we'll talk about something we're looking at getting, and then all of a sudden, like the next day, something pops up, so obviously it's a little bit spooky.
Others, like Ann Scott, who is picking up an online order, say she doesn't mind the occasional personalized discount as long as the technology doesn't go too far.
I'm not big on artificial intelligence because it drives me crazy that Big Brother is watching everything you might search.
Deloitte says on average, 1 in 4 shoppers now expect retailers to use AI, but earning the trust of consumers could be the biggest deal of all.
I think it's a very interesting concept, but I'm also a little bit concerned what they do with that data.
All right, the Maple Leafs were looking to snap a 2-game losing streak when they faced off against the Nashville Predators last night.
For McMahon busting in, shoot, rebound, score! McMahon slides home on a second try and the Leafs lead 4-2.
Toronto ended the second period up 4-2. They added 3 goals in the third period, winning the game 7-4. The Leafs will be back on the ice tomorrow to take on the New York Rangers.
Coming up, one of the most famous voice actors of all time has penned a new play coming to Stratford. We'll tell you who after the break.
A play in Stratford is nothing new, but Frankenstein's Daughter, opening this week, is definitely a little different.
The play is written by a husband and wife duo, and the husband is one of the most famous voice actors of all time. CTV's Jeff Pickle reports.
You may not recognize his face.
When you write something for The Simpsons, it goes through a major rewrite process.
But you definitely know the voice.
Yes. Can you give us a little Homer, maybe?
Yeah, all right, a little Homer.
Then, of course, there's Krusty the Clown.
All right, Krusty.
Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson and several other Simpson characters.
Hey, funny man, say something funny.
Together with his wife and writer on The Simpsons, Deb LaCusta, the pair wrote Frankenstein's Daughter.
We wanted to write definitely a comedy, and this is a dark comedy.
The 2-person play about strangers meeting at a cabin in the woods, scripted for laughs and a scare.
There's nobody here but you.
And that person there claims that they know that person too, and that they were supposed to be there. So I thought that was an interesting start to a play.
The play is debuting at Stratford's Here for Now Theatre and presented by Process Theatre, a company with the slogan, where we take comedy seriously.
So it's about therapy and what's happening in that world, and are we really helping anybody, or are we just messing people up?
Written in LA, but finding its way to a stage in Stratford, thanks to the writers and director crossing paths at the legendary Second City Theatre in Chicago decades earlier.
And they were writers coming into my first theater company, and we got to be good friends, and we have maintained that friendship over the years.
After director Michael Gelman moved to Stratford, so did Frankenstein's Daughter.
It's a lot more intimate, isn't it? I mean, it's 60 seats, and this is the set you see behind you, and so I love that kind of theater.
Gelman says it's the type of theater that reminds him of home.
They used to call it kitchen sink drama. And that's how it feels like. It feels like you're in the living room. And I love that intimacy.
So we both know it's a she.
I didn't say that.
You just did.
What's her name?
Frances Stein.
Frances Stein?
Yes, Dr. Frances Stein.
For the actors, the script and the venue offering something a little different to the Stratford audience.
But I think it's so exciting to have an alternative that's not necessarily competition, but is a great
side dish to the festival, and especially to have comedy.
Frankenstein's daughter runs at the Here For Now Theatre from October 16th through to the 26th. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Stratford.
Before we let you go, we'll get you caught up weather-wise, and clouds are going to move out. It'll warm up just a little more today.
It will, and then it's going to cool down overnight tonight. And the fact that those clouds are going to clear actually elevates our risk of frost for tonight. So there is an advisory in place for areas from Mississauga westward and then portions of Niagara. These advisories are issued based on different criteria for the growing season. So it's those parts of the GTA under the advisory tonight. Waking up tomorrow morning, our temperature could be as low as 4 degrees. And then we're forecasting a daytime high of 14 under sunny skies for tomorrow. So much the same as today, just a little more sun. Hey, we're hoping that there's going to be 3 games in Seattle this week. So here's a look at what you can expect over the next few days. Conditions look pretty good at T-Mobile Park. Let's hope that the bats are hot for the Blue Jays. Here's your 7-day forecast into this weekend. Wet weather looks likely into Sunday, and then for the early days of next week, too. Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.